You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is April the 22nd, 2019. With you today is myself, Carl, and the Red Wings-cladded Nick.
Hey, Carl.
Hello. It's a big week. Tons has happened in the NHL. 4 of the 8 series have wrapped up, so lots of us to get to this week, and we will get to all of that today. Nick has... for some reason, you're excited this week. I don't know why, but...
Well, Carl, Friday morning, Hockey Town woke up to some very exciting news. And I don't know about you, but when I'm happy, I like to sing. So, I wrote this song. It's the 1-9 in the 3-1-3. S to the T to the E-V-I-E. Turn off the car, give him the key. The captain's gonna lead us back to victory, like he did in 96, in double OT, and again in 97 when he kissed Stanley. 98 and 02, there was never any doubt. Even with no knees, he grinded it out. So when he left, it was a real sad day, but he went and built a winner out in Tampa Bay. Hey, Hockey Town, the last few years you've been looking down, but the captain's back where he's meant to be. So let's all say, welcome home, Stevie. Do, 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 do. When he left his role in Tampa Bay, everybody hoped that we'd see this day. 9 years ago, he went away, but his home is Detroit. Now he's here to stay. Tear it all down, build it back up, take us all the way to the Stanley Cup. You did it back then, you can do it now. You're the king of this city, and here's your crown. Manage this salary cap to perfection. Point this ship in the right direction. It may be rough and it may take long, but you're back home now where you belong. Hey, Hockey Town, the last few years you've been looking down, but the captain's back where he's meant to be. So let's all say, welcome home, CV. Hey, Hockey Town, the last few years you've been looking down, but the captain's back where he's meant to be. So let's all say, welcome home, Stevie.
Wow. So I guess that's your hard-hitting analysis.
Carl, my hard-hitting analysis is I'm so happy.
Aside from winning the Stanley Cup, where does this place on the scale of joy?
Oh, for me as a Red Wings fan, there's winning the Stanley Cup. There's seeing Henrik Zetterberg smile. And then there's Steve Yzerman coming home to lead us back to greatness.
Yeah, it's a big day. One, I assume you saw coming. We've talked about it before. But did you think that it would actually happen?
I did. I didn't think it would happen so soon. Like, I kind of figured his contract ran like July to June 30th, so I didn't think we'd see anything until July. I think there was a little bit of doubt with Ken Holland and whether or not he was ready to step down, but obviously he was, because he orchestrated this whole thing.
Yeah, which is honestly his best move he's arguably ever made as general manager, is bringing in a replacement general manager.
Yeah, Ken Holland, he's got a bit of a bad rap right now for the last few years, but he's made a lot of great moves. Pre-salary cap, but he's made a lot of really good moves. I don't know if this would rank up there with his great moves, but I think that I'm really impressed with the amount of self-awareness that he had, and just knowing that the team, the fans, the organization needed this to happen right now. And he took one for the team and stepped aside.
So so what exactly is his role? Because he's still with the team as like one of those figurehead type roles, or? Yeah,
he's, I think, excuse me, I'm not used to singing that much. I think
your emotions are getting the best of you.
They are.
Yeah. Sniffles, it's happening. It's fine.
Yeah. His title, I believe, is Senior Vice President of Hockey, something or other. I don't know. I think he's just kind of moving into one of those Jim Devolato roles where he's around the office and he advises, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Very exciting times. What do you expect? Do you expect like a change in direction for the Red Wings now with Stevie there? Because I think what he did best in Tampa was handling the salary cap, which is what the Red Wings would need best right now, right? They're not in the best of salary cap situations. There's no denying that. Do you expect him to come in and make some aggressive moves to shed some of that in ways like he did in Tampa? Or just kind of come in and work on building some pieces around him, working on scouting? Because they're going to be drafting high this year. There's not much he can do for scouting this year, but really finding out what's available at that spot, a draft strategy moving forward, and then seeing what else to do.
Yeah. I mean, he, in his press conference, his big theme was this is going to take time. Like, temper your expectations, temper your excitement, because this is going to take time to rebuild properly. But that being said, if you look at when he started with Tampa, he, I believe, was hired in late May, and he had made 4 trades before the next season had started. So over the course of summer, he made 4 trades. He's not someone who sits back and waits for things to sort themselves out. He acts. He's not afraid to make tough decisions and take action. So yeah, I am expecting some big moves this offseason. Obviously, right now is draft time. You focus on the draft. You get through those 2 days. And then from there, you work on fixing the defense, and you work on some of those albatross contracts that you've inherited from your predecessor. Yeah.
Well, and so, like you said, none of those trades that he made that first summer in Tampa, which was 2010, I believe, none of those were like groundbreaking deals, right? But, he managed to move some pieces out, acquired some role players that had, certainly some significant roles, and then set a framework for those moves going forward.
Yeah, exactly. It's about laying a foundation, right? And I think right now Detroit's like maybe halfway there. They've got some good young forwards who really came into their own at the end of the season. They've got some good young defensemen who still have to come into their own. But they're also very crowded with veteran presence and like bottom 6 role players. So he's going to have to clear some space.
For sure. And I guess the only other question, because one thing that helped him a lot in Tampa, is he getting rid of the state income tax in Michigan? Is that
You know what? If any athlete had the power to do that in a state, it's probably Steve Yzerman in the state of Michigan.
Yeah. The unofficial Michiganer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. It's a rare opportunity lately that both a Red Wings fan and an Avalanche fan get to celebrate in late April, and here we are.
That's right. Congratulations to you too.
Yeah. We will get to why I'm happy. You probably know why I'm happy. We'll get to why Stevie's old team is not happy. I missed the opportunity at the start. I think everyone, it's just us two in the chat today. It's not open to the public. We're not have it open, but I did miss the opportunity to introduce you as Stevie Nick, which was a great Fleetwood Mac reference.
Yeah, so my stage name, since I knew I'd be performing.
It's a very nice stage name. So, well, before we get to any of that, let's remind everyone about the Alberta Podcast Network and their fine sponsors, including Park Power. In order to make things such as Nick's wonderful performance possible, you need power, you need electricity, and Park Power is one that can provide that for you. Head to parkpower.ca where you can find out how to switch, what they can provide for you, some of their information on rates, things like that, and why they do great things in the community, because they do. Not just why, but what. So head to parkpower.ca and find out more about that. Nick, the second round.
Round 2.
Oh, my goodness.
Just as we predicted.
Just as Nick predicted, and I was too afraid to do so. We are here.
So wait, did your reverse jinx work?
Is that a reverse jinx? I don't know. Whether it is or is not. My Avalanche are in the second round, and I could care less about my bracket. A great feeling. As much as a series that has 2 of the 5 games go to overtime can be definitive, that one was.
Yeah, it was. And it wasn't for the reasons we thought either, was it?
No, because we all said, the Flames are going to lose because Mike Smith is trash.
Yeah.
And he was not.
Nope.
He was exactly what the Flames needed. It's the fact that the top line forgot how to play hockey.
Yeah, which is really when you need them to show up.
Yeah, I was quite surprised how they were just completely shut down the entire series. I know they came out and said Sean Monahan had a cracked thumb, apparently, that he was struggling with. And I don't like the narrative that this brings up, but Johnny Gaudreau just could not physically handle it. And I'm not saying Johnny Gaudreau's too small to be good, but there was just repeated times that he could not manage to handle what the Avalanche were throwing at him. And it was one of the big reasons they lost.
Yeah. I mean, 0 goals from your best goal scorer.
No.
That's not good. 2 points from your Norris finalist defenseman. That's not good. A goal and an assist from Sean Monahan. I mean, yeah, I believe he's injured, and I believe that affected him, but it's the playoffs. Everybody's injured.
Yeah. Mikko Rantanen is in no way healthy enough to be playing competently, and he had a great series.
Right. So, to me, these guys, I mean, I don't want to have this exact same conversation twice because I'm thinking a lot of the things about Tampa Bay too, but I don't know if it's a matter of them kind of taking their foot off the gas because they thought we have the lowest seed and we probably don't need to be there 100%. But they did not show up.
I see this as slightly different than Tampa because they came out and they played a better game 1 than Colorado did, right? They showed that they can be better than the Avalanche. Now, granted, the Avs showed the rest of the series, they took to that next level and the Flames didn't, right? And so it could be the Avs, a lot of players on that team, not a ton of experience. I guess not a ton of playoff experience on the Flames either, but you come in that first game and after losing to Nashville in the first round last year, you're like, all right, this is, let's relearn what we have to do. This is not the same as regular season hockey. It's not played the same. And you've got to take those things that are necessary. Calgary did not respond to the adjustments Colorado made through the rest of the series. And I'm, obviously fine with it. And that's the difference I see between them and the Tampa because Calgary showed they can win. I don't think it's a foot off the gas thing. But they, there was obviously something physically and, mentally that stopped them.
So do you think the Avs just defended them that much better?
I think that I don't think it's necessarily all, much like with the Tampa series, I don't think it's all Colorado or all Calgary. I think both the Avs played a great series. They were what they needed to be. They played to their strengths and they took advantage when they could. Great power play. They made the Flames pay when they could and did well enough defensively to let Philip Grubauer hold them in those games.
Yeah, I mean, and their top line showed up at the end of the day.
Right. And so one thing that I am firmly in this camp, and it's why we'll get to it, why I still firmly believe that Toronto will beat Boston, is that the Avs had 2 lines going, right? They still split Rantanen off onto the second line with Soderberg, and I believe Tyson Yost was on that line as well. Moving Alex Kerfoot up to the first line and having those 2 lines able to go, you combine them on the power play and let them have a crack at that. It's good. Good things happen when you do that.
And have we done a podcast since Cale Makar made his debut?
I don't think, no, that would have been, I think last Monday he made his debut when we had the delayed episode. Big fan.
I think I only watched the first period if I remember correctly, but he looked really good.
Yeah, he does not look like a guy who's just stepping into his first ever NHL game with one practice with the team.
Yeah. Yeah, he looked, I mean, like that's we talked about it last time we recorded about it's, burning the year off his contract and all that. It's a risk to have him play in the playoffs, but it's paying off.
I said all along that I thought it was good, and if they advanced to the second round, worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
Second round, worth it for sure. So, very excited to see. I guess we'll find out tomorrow night who they play in the second round. Either San Jose or Vegas. If scheduling works out, and if they play San Jose, there is a strong likelihood that I will be in San Jose to cheer on my Avalanche.
Oh, neat.
A thing that I might have the opportunity to do. So it might not be game 1 or 2. Might have to wait till game 5. But assuming it goes 5, I mean, if it doesn't go 5, then either Martin Jones really crapped the bed, or the Avs played fantastic. So I feel like those are the only ways that there's a sweep in that series. And
both could happen. We've already seen both in these playoffs.
I guess not that the Avs played fantastic, but the Sharks played fantastic rather, because the Sharks are quite the juggernaut of a team. When you're talking about rolling multiple lines, they're rolling all the lines.
Yeah.
So let us get to some of the other series that have ended the sweeps. Tampa and Columbus. Tampa's out in 4.
Shocking the hockey world.
Brackets busted worldwide.
I think something like close to 50% of people called Tampa winning the cup.
Yeah. Which it is the first time ever that we've had both number 1 seeds knocked out in the first round, which is insane.
It's kind of cool though.
It's the year of the upset, right? We've got, one of the 4 series so far that have advanced is the team that was the higher seed in the Islanders. Mm-hmm. Which, like, for a lot of people, you say then like the Islanders were the higher seed. We've got, Dallas can close out tonight. I think Carolina is still a significant underdog. Washington could close them out tonight. And then game 7s, who knows what can happen? That's essentially 50-50.
Coin flip.
Yeah. And so we could easily have 6 upsets in the first round.
It's so much fun. Here's a question for you, because I keep having this debate internally and externally. Is the Islanders over Pittsburgh an upset? Are they the underdog in that series? Or were they?
I think only because of the Penguins' playoff experience. But like from what they've shown this year, New York not only finished higher, but like they played better hockey. The things that we saw from Pittsburgh as struggles showed up in that series, right? They were able to shut down the Crosby line. He couldn't get going. Matt Murray played some of the worst hockey I've ever seen a playoff goaltender play.
Yeah.
And that's that's an easy way to get swept when your best player's not able to perform. And I'm not saying, trust me, Sidney Crosby still knows what he's doing. It's just in a 4-game sample size, a team can shut you down, and it's pretty difficult to blame someone on that. But your goaltender has to be good, and Robin Lehner was. Matt Murray wasn't.
And Jordan Eberle was really good.
Yeah.
Which, good for Jordan Eberle.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a free agent at the end of this year, is he not? You know what? I'll look it up while
you look it up. I know for sure the captain Anders Lee is a free agent at the end of this year. Yeah. I'm not sure about Jordan Eberle. If he is, a lot of the free agents on this team, I think a run like this starts to change things for them.
For sure. So they have Jordan Eberle, Brock Nelson, and Anders Lee, all free agents at the end of this season.
Man, so they're the options are kind of open for Lamoriello and what he wants to do with this roster.
Yeah, I mean, you can lock those guys up. You can pay them a sufficient amount. Right now Eberle's he made $6 million this year, which seems like he would probably net, depend on the length, a bit more than that on a fresh deal.
I don't know. I hear $6 million. I'm like, that sounds about right for Jordan Eberle.
Like I'm thinking like 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
Right? I think just literally because he's like, I want to raise.
Yeah.
And then, Anders Lee, Brock Nelson probably will get raises over their essentially $4 million that they're getting right now. So, they've got a lot going on. But a lot of flexibility. They're moving back. One of the lowest cap hits in the league and a ton of cap space next year. Robin Lehner, also a free agent. That is not going to be a cheap extension to hand out.
Robin Lehner, how do you evaluate this guy? Like, how do you walk into that contract negotiation?
I think it's another prove it deal, right? He got a $1.5 million 1-year prove it deal this year, which is like barely a prove it deal. It's just like, show up. I think it's going to be another short deal with some pretty high money on it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, like a $6 million for 2 years.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Because he did prove it this year. If this year was his prove it deal, he proved it.
He did, which is why I think he'll get paid on his next one. But I would be quite surprised if a team was bold enough to give him term and money on this next deal.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Goalies are weird.
Well, and that's the other side, right? Like, goalie contracts are shockingly affordable.
Yeah.
Like, that's where if I'm spending money in free agency, and especially since Lehner's not the number one ticket this offseason, right? You've got Bobrovsky there. Robin Lehner is a very good consolation prize.
Yeah, I mean, Bobrovsky's all but gone, though.
To Florida.
Yeah, I think that's like... Yeah, I think enough people have said that I believe it now.
I would probably agree with that, but we do have, if we look at, I don't want free agents, give me active players. There we go. Looking at goalie contracts right now, there are 4 goaltenders making a cap hit above $7 million.
Yeah. Which
is kind of crazy. So, like, say in a 6-year or a $6 million a year deal for him puts him 10th overall. So that's not to say that which, like, all the rest of them have pretty significant term to them. Yeah. We're looking at like Price, Rask, John Gibson, Hellebuck, Holtby, Corey Schneider. He could get Corey Schneider money. I think you look at that and it's like, hey, I should get paid more than Corey Schneider is what he does.
I would think so, yeah.
But that's about what I would be looking at. 6-ish for him with whatever term. That's a deal that a team should say yes to.
That'll be an interesting team to watch next year. I kind of get the feeling that they're the Ottawa Senators from a few years ago who made it to the conference finals but weren't actually that good. But I've been saying that about the Islanders all year, that they're not that good, and here we are.
Right. Well, and it is, I would agree that that's an apt comparison. The Senators of that year also rode a very hot Craig Anderson for a long time.
Yeah.
He played above his career average. And then when he started playing below average, the Senators are what we thought they were. I think that if a good goaltender fixes a lot of mistakes, and if they bring him back, I'm not saying that they'll repeat this year, but they'll be a playoff contender for sure.
Yeah. I think the hockey gods just want us to have a New York Islanders Toronto Maple Leafs conference final.
Well, could they let Toronto, if that's what they want, maybe make Toronto play a better freaking Game 6?
Oh boy, that was pretty ugly, eh?
That was not a good looking game.
No, it's crazy how up and down they go within 2 days.
Because they played a fantastic Game 5.
Yeah.
Well, I get not fantastic. They played well enough to win, obviously. It wasn't a blowout. It wasn't like they were the Avalanche playing the Flames or anything like that, but they played well and seemed like they had Boston right where they wanted them, right? Like they've won at this point 2 games in Boston, which was their big issue last year, right?
Yeah.
Now they have to win a third one. For some reason they can't win at home. Which I think, like, to me, I look at it as, and I know that people love to harp on him, but I do not understand what Mike Babcock is doing with his lines and his matchups. He overthinks things so much.
Yeah, he always has. It's mind-boggling. His lines never make sense, and then he changes them like halfway through the game.
And his usage, I don't know if you followed it super closely in that game on, that would have been yesterday. Man, it has been a long day.
Yeah.
Yesterday's game, his power play usage, I don't know if it was just started that day or is a new thing that that I just haven't noticed. But he would put his number one unit, which has, the big guns on it, Marner, Matthews, Tavares, out for literally a minute, and then pull them and put on the second unit so that he could have them back out quickly after the power play is done. And then you watch Boston on the other side, who they have their top unit of Marchand and Bergeron and Pasternak, and they're out there for a minute and a half scoring 2 goals on the power play. It's like you look across the ice and you say, well, that's what I should be doing. Like, there's literal proof of how I should run my power play, and he can't figure it out.
It's so true. That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. The Leafs power play is weird. Like, it should be way better than it is, and it should have been way better than it was all year.
Which isn't to say it was bad. It's just that power play should be next level.
It should be next level. And you're right. They should be double shifting those guys. When you're down, when you're trailing in a game where you can eliminate your opponent, those guys should be on the ice way more.
There was, what was it? End of game 4, because that's the game they lost. They had Anderson pulled. Tyler Ennis was on the ice and Austin Matthews was sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why is a guy who wasn't even good enough to play when Nazem Kadri was in the lineup out there? Austin Matthews has 2 days to rest up. Play him.
Yeah, but Tyler Ennis works hard, Carl. And there's something you got to understand about players who work hard. They play a lot of time under Mike Babcock.
Well, apparently Patrick Marleau played an absurd amount last night, so he's the hardest working dad on the roster.
He works hard. Everything looks hard for him.
That's the definition of working hard? If you make it look tough, Ron Hainsey, Patrick Marleau, welcome to minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they get a lot of minutes.
So where do you stand? Maybe that's why they're winning so much in Boston, is because he doesn't have first change, or I guess last change. He can't over micromanage the lines. He just has to run with what he has. What do you think happens in Game 7 here?
Oh, God, I don't know. I want the Leafs to win, but I don't. I think I'm going to stick with my original prediction that Boston takes it in 7.
Well, and I'm still gonna stick with my prediction, which I've gotten 1 out of 4 correct so far. So, congratulations, Boston, I suppose is what that means.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've only gotten 1 of 8 correct so far. So
you got Colorado correct?
Yeah.
And I got the Blues right.
You got the Blues right. That's right.
Yeah.
Forgot about the Blues.
And then we both got Tampa and Pittsburgh wrong. So that's going to be Game 7. That's on Tuesday. We've got another Game 7, Vegas, San Jose. Let's get to that. Let's pop back to Tampa, Columbus for a brief second.
Yes.
Because we didn't really touch on them. We got distracted with Mike Babcock.
Yes.
What do you think? Because it's obviously, someone this offseason, with all these upsets in the playoffs, some general manager is going to make some foolish moves.
Yes.
Tampa has right? Like, I don't know which member of, I guess, like, I want to say Nashville, but he's pretty smart there, old David Poile.
He's patient.
I look forward to Winnipeg. I look forward to which Flame is going to be on the move. Well, they have to move James Neal somehow, but
yeah.
I'll take James Neal for 5 cents on the dollar. Sure.
Yep.
So what do you do in Tampa? Is there anything that you do, or do you just say, learn from this and get better?
I think the Tampa Bay Lightning should do absolutely nothing. Nothing. I think it was a perfect storm in the first round. Columbus came out hard. They came out strategic, and they came out ready to play and to just outwork Tampa. But I don't think that this first round is a reason for Tampa to blow it all up or start moving pieces out. I think if you run that series 5 times, Tampa probably wins 4 of the 5 times.
I would have thought that when the series started, but we saw just hands down Columbus outplay Tampa. And I do think I agree with you that I don't think Tampa should do a whole lot this offseason. Their biggest decision is what and how they pay Brayden Point, right? Is that possible? Can they move out some money to be able to afford him? If not, that's the one where you're like, all right, you use that as just like the sacrificial lamb, right? You're like, look, Braden's, you gotta go. And then this team could still win without him. They've done it with the pieces they have before. They've had success, and they will, I trust, find other pieces to step up, much like Brayden Point does.
Is he the one you move, though?
He's the easiest one, though, right? Like, you just, unless you don't assume that anyone's even willing to offer sheet him. Because if you can let someone offer sheet Brayden Point, that's a fantastic deal for you. That's the one you run with.
100%. You just let them do it.
Yeah. And so, like, if no one offers sheets anymore, but for me, I look at that and I'm like, look, you make him the necessary offer and wait for someone to sign him long term to relative or to the money he's worth. Sure.
I don't know. If I'm them, I'm trying to keep him. I just don't know how. They're in a tough spot with the salary cap, and Yzerman's like, "Kate, see you later," because he's a Red Wing now. Carl, again,
is he?
He is. Yeah.
Which unnecessary contract will Steve Yzerman call and try to like Steve Yzerman the Lightning, or do they not answer his calls?
They probably don't even answer his calls.
It's like, oh, it's Steve's number again. Is he coming back? No, dang it, he's in Detroit now. They forget and hang up.
Yeah, he's on the block list. They've taken that picture that's standing up on the desk and put it face down.
Yeah, they took his portrait off the wall.
Yeah, I don't know what Tampa does. I don't think they do anything. I think they're still the best team in the league. Just sometimes the best team gets beat 4 times in a row.
I mean, almost every team in the NHL lost 4 games in a row at some point this year. I mean, Tampa waited until the playoffs to do it, but all of the narrative of Tampa needed to learn to lose, or they weren't ready, or they didn't have enough games that mattered, right? That's what we see a lot of this narrative, especially with both of these teams losing right now. I think it's just both of these teams being Calgary and Tampa. But I just think it's a perfect storm scenario. There is nothing that needs to be done. All the conversation of how do we make it more fair for the number 1 seed to not lose out in the first round? Just be better. It's not that hard. If the number 8 seed can beat you, you're not good.
Yeah. There are a lot of reasons to change the playoff seeding format. This is not one of them.
Right. 2 teams being bad is not a reason to give them a bigger advantage.
Yeah. No.
There's no.
I think that's silly. I think excuse me, this is what we want to see.
Yeah. We want to see that. Nick's going to have a coffee fit right now. We want this, right? We want some controversy, not even controversy. We just want some upsets. We want some action. We want something that we can get fired up about. And it's great. You know, I was just happy the Avs made the playoffs, and now they've made it to the second round. And who knows? Once you've won a round, I know a lot of Boston and Toronto fans are licking their chops at the prospects of playing Columbus. And I say, Columbus just beat the best team in the NHL. Why do you want to play them? Right?
Yeah,
like
100%.
Every team is fair game at this point. You win a round in the playoffs, and you can beat any other team from that point on. It is, at that point, it is adjustments, it is matchups, it is a hot goaltender. It is those things that are going to carry you to the next round and win a Stanley Cup.
Nobody should be underestimating anybody anymore.
No.
Not at this point.
You can't, right? And the players aren't. I know fans might be, right? the fans, Boston, Toronto fans are like, oh, Columbus. Same thing. San Jose and Vegas are like, yeah, give us Colorado. But
Yep.
It's not a smart choice.
Well, Colorado, Columbus have now had a week of rest, whereas the other 4 teams are playing in a Game 7, so they're going to go in tired and beat up.
No, Nick, I've heard it said Colorado and Columbus haven't played a meaningful game in a week. When you go that much time without playing meaningful games, you come in lazy, you don't play hard, and you're going to lose very quickly. That's what this playoffs has taught me.
Yeah. Carl, we need to unteach you that. Unlearn.
That's what the media tells me to believe. So
yeah, well, that's just silly.
No.
If anyone thinks for a second those 2 teams are going to sit back and be lazy, nope.
No. You've got 20-year-old Cale Makar ready to count guns a-blazing.
Yeah, and 40-year-old Nick Foligno. I don't know how old he is, but he's up there.
Yeah. He can't be that. I bet Nick Foligno is 32.
32?
32.
He's 31. Good guess.
There you go. See?
But 31 for a hockey player is 40 for regular people, so.
Yeah, he's peaked. He's peaked for sure. Well, we'll get to those games. I guess probably Thursday, Friday. They haven't announced it yet. So we are looking at, which is why I'm waiting to book my ticket to San Jose.
Yeah, probably on the weekend the series will start.
Yeah. And so we'll see who starts when, but we will be getting into the NHL. Usually, for some reason, likes to take an extra day off after Game 7s, even because they hate momentum. They just like to kill our mojo and our fun. So
everybody needs the rest.
Okay, even the fans.
Sleep, young princes.
Yes. So what series have we not touched on? We've touched on. Let's go St. Louis, Winnipeg. That's one that. Indeed. That was an interesting turn in that series. St. Louis winning those last 2 games after Winnipeg looked like, it was a series of significant momentum, right? You had St. Louis came out strong, Winnipeg countered, and then obviously St. Louis closing out. And I legitimately thought in the middle of that series, I was like, this is Winnipeg's. I had all my reasons of believing in St. Louis. Binghamton, a name that is difficult for some of us to say, started to fall apart a little bit. And I was like, he's done. It's over. Not so much.
Yeah. I mean, even through most of Game 5, it felt that way, right?
Yeah.
Until the last, whatever 5 minutes or whatever, they tied the game.
They tied the game with mere minutes left and then 15 seconds left in the game, giving up that game winner, which I still am iffy. Obviously, goalie interference is one of the most confusing things. But that goal where I believe was it Shen who went sliding into the net, the game tying goal there. That was a tough call to make.
Carl, we could do a whole hour on goalie interference with all the calls this week.
Yeah,
but what is it? I don't know.
No one does. And what do you think the solution is to this? We've talked about it ad nauseum, but it seems like every series has one game that's been defined by one sort of call. It happened in Toronto, Boston. It happened in Winnipeg, St. Louis. The sweeps, not so much, but every game has had something. Every series has had something. Do you think it's needs a bigger crackdown so that people aren't as tempted to go in, or what do you think?
For goalie interference, you mean?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I think the review's probably fine. I think they should probably put a goalie up there to review the play too, because especially that one, I think it was with Tuukka Rask, where I don't know if he could get over to make that save if he wasn't interfered with or not. That kind of stuff, I think you probably want to put a goalie up there, but I don't know. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
How do you crack down more on it? Like if the player hits the goalie, he gets a penalty. That's the rule. Or what is the rule? If he interferes with him and doesn't allow him to make the save.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It does need to. Anyways, it is stupid, and I don't think there is a solution to it.
Do you think reviewing it is the right thing though? Like, do you think they should be allowed to review it?
Yes, I do think so. Because we would be sitting here having the exact opposite conversation. We'd be sitting here saying he was interfered with. It's stupid that this goal does or doesn't count.
Yeah.
We need to do something about it. I just think that I would honestly, if we're going to be doing reviews and we're going to be doing this, don't even say did he impede his ability? Just make it if the goalie has 1 foot in the crease and you touch him, it's a penalty. Just try to make it as black and white as possible so we can have these iffy scenarios. That would be my hopes and dreams, but I don't think we'll ever get that.
No, I doubt it.
So there have been lots of talk about, and you mentioned, right, Jets being shaken up with some of their pieces this next offseason. Patrik Laine, he needs a new deal. He will be getting a new deal. No question about that, to stay in Winnipeg. That said, a lot of the rest of the roster up in the air, right? Kevin Hayes, he's leaving as a unrestricted free agent. Hard to bring him back. Jacob Trouba, he's in need of a new deal, restricted free agent, and been talk for years of him potentially leaving. And I do think we've seen some conversations from some of the those who follow the Jets that they believe he's gone. You got to think that if someone moves, it's got to be him.
Well, he's still an RFA too, right? So the club still, I think he might be arbitration eligible, but the club still kind of controls his situation. But yeah, I could see them trading him out. I mean, they've had some other defensemen who have kind of stepped up nicely this year.
Well, and Tyler Myers, his deal's up, but I look at this roster and there's a lot of good things to celebrate, right? But you have to pay. Kyle Connor is going to get a good deal here. Yeah. Patrik Laine is going to get a great deal, and the rest of the team around them has to fill in. They definitely have space to bring back both Laine, Connor, and Trouba, and then figure out what they're going to do from there. But this is a team that I could definitely see being quite active. The only downside is they don't have a first-round pick, right? They don't have some of those other pieces to move out. So that went in the Hayes deal. So we'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the players kind of rally. I mean, they're not going to let Laine go or Connor, so they'll both be back next year. So it'll be interesting to see how they rally from this, because that last game was embarrassing for them. Yeah,
that was a Flames-esque, a Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh Penguins-esque disaster. So
very, very bad. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. Moving to some of the other series, let's just quickly touch on the Stars and the Predators. Game 6 is going to be happening tonight, and that is one that, obviously the Stars owner has had his comments throughout the year. He's not saying that now.
Nope. Or if he is, he's saying it nicely and giving them a little nudge with his elbow.
Yeah. Look at that bulletin board material I gave you guys.
Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you were, I was watching, I think it was the NBC feed. That might have been the only feed, but they referred to Sagan, Ben, and Radulov as the new Legion of Doom line.
I saw that. It's an interesting choice of decision there. Yeah, they're not.
They're not even close.
No. But hey, good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, a great line, and smart of them to finally put them back together. As much as I say, I like to have lines split up. When you don't have much supporting cast around you, you've got to trust those guys. And those three plus Hesakainen have had a dandy series.
Yeah. The defense in that series has been very active, right? Which we kind of expect from Nashville.
Yeah.
But yeah, Heiskanen has looked really good.
Is that how you say it?
Heiskanen? I don't know. I'm not looking at it right now. Okay. So I'm going by memory.
Okay. Well, I've heard someone say that earlier this week, and I was like, you're saying that wrong. And then I realized I'm probably not the one to be judging them.
Yeah, no. You, Fourth Line Podcast, is infamous for saying all the names wrong.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Hesakainen.
That one and Tika is the one you guys always used to Tika.
Anyways, you can thank Bob McKenzie for that one. That's how he pronounced it way back. So thank you, Bob. What are the other series we have? Now, Colorado, nope.
San Jose, Winnipeg,
Washington, Carolina. That's one that Carolina, great showing at home, winning their 2 games there. But the 6-0 game 5, obviously in Washington, but that was I think a statement game for Washington.
Yeah, I think they needed it too after dropping those 2 games.
Yeah, I fully expect them to come out tonight. Game gets started. We're going to be finish recording this before it starts. We'll get this episode out probably halfway through that game. So we will know as soon as you do what the results of that game are. But I fully expect them to come out tonight, guns a-blazing, and to finish out the series.
I expect both teams to come out guns a-blazing. Andrei Svechnikov's back in the lineup, I think.
Is he? Okay, I hadn't seen if he was or was not going to be. Ovi just destroyed his face.
Yeah, that was not good to see. That wasn't very fun TV. Yeah, I fully believe that Washington can come out and close us out without TJ Oshie. Do you think they can survive the rest of the playoffs without TJ Oshie?
I believe so, especially if you look at their path. I think that,
don't go underestimating any teams, Carl.
I'm going to do it, Nick. Don't tell me what to do. I look at them versus the Islanders. Certainly, Barry Trotz knows the Washington Capitals better than anyone else out there and knows their strengths and weaknesses and also the strengths and weaknesses of their coach, right?
Yep.
And so, because Todd Reardon was, I believe, an assistant there last year. And so you've got that going for the second round. In spite of that, in spite of the Capitals not taking them lightly, I just think that they will be able to put a lot more pressure on the Islanders than the Penguins were able to. And I think with that, I think the Islanders will crack. And then from there, you've got Columbus and or Toronto and or Boston. Who knows? But I think that they can still get past any of them because who knows what's going to happen? Who knows how many more games Nazem Kadri is going to be suspended for? Who knows how old Nick Foligno is going to become in the next week? Before then, he might become 40. We do not know.
Yeah, it's true. Who knows what's in the water in Columbus?
Yeah, and who knows how many people Brad Marchand's going to lick between now and then and get suspended for. So these are all question marks we have.
Aren't you a little disappointed how boring he's been this series?
Just I legitimately, there was an interview with him after, was it after Game 5? And I was like, that is legitimately like a respectable interview you just gave, and I hate that I have to think that.
He complimented them.
Yeah.
The hell, Brad Marchand? This isn't what you've taught us to expect of you.
Yeah. After all these years, we always said Brad Marchand cannot change because he's proven repeatedly that he wouldn't. Yeah. And this year, I'm like, I don't know what to think anymore.
Has Brad Marchand changed?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think this is the same Brad Marchand we've always known and loved. It's just, he's saving it. Trust me, this Game 7 gets out of hand, I fully expect Brad Marchand to get in someone's head. Who is it today? There was the Sharks. They were commenting on the fact that they were very upset that Gerard Gallant is yelling at them from the bench. Or it's just a thing. The biggest chirps are coming from the Golden Knights head coach. Which is if you're letting that get in your head, you've really got to...
You're in trouble.
Yeah. But
I like how they can deal with the Ryan Reeves chirps, but the coach,
yeah, it's just a lot. So I saw Logan Couture commenting today. He's like, I'm just focusing on playing on the ice. I'm not listening to people who are on the bench. So,
does that include his own coach? Because that's not good.
He does it. He just hops over the boards whenever he feels like it. Doesn't listen to when his name's called or anything. Logan's out there. He's a loose cannon.
He just plays 60 minutes.
Yeah, which is fine. It's playoffs. You can do that.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this first round? By the time we're back next week, it will be done. We'll be into the second round, which is always a good time.
I have loved it. I think the hockey's been amazing. I love the chaos and the madness that comes with the top seeds being knocked out and the underdogs succeeding. And I like the idea of all kinds of new teams going deeper in the playoffs. It'll make the matchups very interesting.
Yeah, the fact that I guess it was 3 years ago that we had a Blues Stars second round. We might have that again. That was a very good series. I believe that one featured Kerry Lettinen though, so a little bit better goaltending this go.
Yeah.
And we've swapped out Jake Allen and Kerry Lettinen for anybody else, and it's improved. The fact that we've got, Colorado now going through the Pacific Division as the wild card team is going to be, some weird things.
For sure.
Again, another team, maybe this is the way it works. If I don't go to San Jose, I've seen the Avalanche live 3 times this year. They have lost all 3 of them. One, regular season against Calgary. They beat them in the playoffs. The other one, regular season loss against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Uh-oh.
And then maybe they'll beat them in that series too. Maybe that's the thing. I'm going full superstition on this.
Yeah, no kidding.
I have done a full analysis on what I did differently in game 1 than game 2 through 5. Now, granted, one of them was I was at the game. So that's a reason why I'm like, do I go to another one? The other thing I did, for some reason, I only wore a jersey for game 1. I did not wear a jersey for the other 4 games. And so I'm strongly considering not donning the burgundy and blue for the rest of the playoffs. But I might just try it for game 1 and see what happens. If they win, they win, and then I know I can wear it. And if they lose, then I'm not going to wear it again.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? The action you take in your home may not affect the outcome of the game at all.
You sure?
I'm not positive.
Okay.
But it may not.
Interesting.
Then again, it may.
Information. I don't want to take that chance. I think they know. Carl from the Fourth Line podcast, he's not wearing his jersey. We're going to win it for him. He's made that sacrifice for us. We're going to sacrifice our bodies. And they're going to play hard hockey.
Those are some pretty tight bonds you have with that team of yours, Carl.
Yeah, they're pretty good, especially Cale Makar. Both games he's played for this team, we've really built something nice. So,
yeah, I'm super salty that you guys have him.
Well, hey, who knows what's going to happen? We picked him with the 4th pick the year we lost the draft lottery. We've done it again this year. If that's what we get, I'm all right.
You've done what again this year?
We're picking 4th. We've lost the draft lottery of the Devils. That's it. I found myself this week because the World Championships are happening right now and the U18s are going on as well. And so there's a lot of Jack Hughes happening out there. And I had to catch myself. I was like, oh man, Jack Hughes, I'm really excited. I was like, not getting Jack.
Yeah, not getting Jack. Just a decent playoff run and a top 5 pick.
Only.
Yeah.
I'm not too salty about not having the 1st overall. I mean, that'd be...
No, you shouldn't be.
It'd be nice, but yes. I was trying to think of the last time a team made the second round of the playoffs and then picked in the top 5.
Has it ever happened before?
Well, I might have to do a deep dive here.
Yeah. I mean, the draft is structured in a way, or the rankings are structured in a way so that it shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do that while I'm waiting for this podcast to edit and doing all that. Maybe I'll post it on the Twitters at the end. So stay tuned at Fourth Line Podcast. Find out all the information you want to know.
And I will retweet it.
Well, there you go. We'll let everyone know all the information about high draft picks in the second round. I just can't think. It would have to be another trade scenario.
It would have to be.
But not many teams who are primed for a second round run are trading players for picks. It's not a thing that happens.
That's because no other team is the Ottawa Senators.
It's true. We've got former Ottawa Senator Nick Foligno doing great things.
Yeah.
Former Ottawa Senator Matt Duchene doing great things. Erik Karlsson,
yeah,
and the 4th overall draft pick, all doing fantastic things this playoffs.
Wow.
It's almost like there's a mess in Ottawa. Yeah, I'm excited to see what these next set of days bring. I have booked off my Tuesday night for a great deal of Game 7. I hope you do the same thing. I hope you listening are able to find time because we're going to have them split up. I'll pull up the exact start times for those for you so that you don't have to. Tuesday, we have Toronto, Boston, 7 o'clock Mountain, Vegas, San Jose, 7 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Eastern is the second game, 5 and 8 Mountain Time. And that's going to be a great time. So you can watch both those games, get lots of snacks ready, get yourself hydrated, and enjoy what's going to be a fantastic night of Game 7s, hopefully.
It's going to be a great night.
Yeah, hopefully I would love. Actually, I had a dinner last night, so I was not able to watch the double overtime. Our longest overtime of the playoffs I had to miss. Did you get to watch it?
I caught just the end of it. Like I caught maybe the 10 minutes leading up to the goal and the goal.
Okay. I was disappointed that I didn't get to see, like, I love me some Martin Jones, not just because he played junior hockey here in Calgary, but just I want good things from him.
He set a franchise record last night.
Right. And he played out of his mind. He played fantastic. 56 saves rather.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, I guess. So hopefully we see more of that. If we get that, I guess we didn't really touch too much, but if they get that Martin Jones, they win Game 7.
Sure.
If they get other Martin Jones, they don't. Because the rest of that team's clicking.
Yep.
Erik Karlsson's looking, not 100% healthy, but he's good enough.
It's getting on the score sheet, which is what you want from Erik Karlsson. All
over the place, yeah. So he's driving that play, and I fully expect me to get my second because I picked Vegas. Dang it. My bracket has Vegas. You have San Jose.
I have San Jose. Yeah. I have San Jose in 7, actually.
Well, I believe I had Vegas in 7. So we will see.
We're at odds tomorrow night, you and I.
We are all over the place. The only one we can agree on is Washington. Do you have Carolina or do you have Washington?
I think in our 4th line bracket, I chose Carolina.
So the Predators.
The Predators I chose. Yeah, okay. I chose.
So the only one we agree on thus far is the Predators. All the rest of them were opposites. So,
well, we agreed on Tampa Bay too, but that doesn't matter anymore.
No, just the ones left. But I still have my Stanley Cup champion in it, so I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right. The Alberta Podcast Network is the best place for you to go if you are looking for more podcasts. There are fantastic shows on that network. And if you go to albertapodcastnetwork.com, you can find out what those are. There are so many different types and so many different things that these shows are a part of. And I'm always quite impressed by the things that the shows on the network are involved in. And if you are in and around the Calgary and Edmonton area, you should do that. One thing that is happening, are you a soccer fan, Nick?
I like playing soccer. I don't really follow it that closely.
Well, you may be aware that there's a new league opening up in Canada.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, and so FC Edmonton's home opener is May 12th, and Adam and Nate from Loyal Company of the River Valley, which is an Alberta podcast, soccer-based show, will be there. And so if you're there for the premiere of the Canadian Premier League is the name of this league that's starting up. There's a team in Edmonton. I know there's a team happening in Calgary as well. Head there with them. And if you're at the game, make sure to give them a shout, and you can find them, Loyal Company of the River Valley, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can obviously find us on Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast, thefourthlinepodcast.com, facebook.com/The Fourth Line Podcast. And if you are on your podcast app right now and you think, man, these guys, they're good. Nick's song, Magical, really moved me. If you also got choked up at his tribute to Stevie, we'd love it if you gave us a review. Say some nice things about us. Give us some stars. We appreciate it. And also, just hang out with us on Twitter as we're watching the games. We'll be watching Game 7 tomorrow night. I guess I won't speak for Nick, but I assume.
Oh yeah, I'll be watching both Game 7s. So it's going to be high tension here.
Yeah, we will be on the edge of our seats, if not standing, for the entire evening. It's actually going to be a great leg workout.
Yeah. God knows I need it.
Yeah, so we'll just be doing squats and standing and on the edge of our seat all night. You can find us on Twitter at NickSagan19 and at Fourth Line Podcast. Give us a holler and let us know your thoughts as you ride the emotional roller coaster of 2 Game 7s. Until then...
I am not doing a second song today, Carl. I've hit my limit with the one.
You know what? I asked too much. I gave you that look. I was like, did Nick do a second song? And you know what? I wish that I had written a song instead. I wish that I had.
Oh, that's okay.
However, we'll see you next week.
Okay.